my friends. Welcome. Glad you're here. If you're here in the room, go ahead and write a comment and flash me a hello. If you're reading this later, again, I'd love to hear what you're doing. Also, please subscribe and like the YouTube channel so that I am encouraged to keep showing up for the Wednesday Lunch and Learns. That would be awesome. Thank you. So today we're talking about a summer survival guide, and it's especially with divorced dads in mind because summer is hard, can be hard for a lot of parents. And when you're going through a divorce at the same time, that makes everything harder, right? So today's theme is that the small moments matter more than the expensive ones. Summer can feel like high stakes parenting, long stretches of time, school year routines aren't there, and the pressure to make it count. And you know what? I want you to have your best summer ever. I really do. But I don't want you to feel a lot of tension about it. So, we're going to do some reflection today and kind of consider how can we show up for our kids in a way that supports everybody's, including your ex's, happiness this summer. So I want you to do some planning and to do some thinking. Transitions are the seams in your kid's life. How you handle the shape off definitely is going to affect how they show up the rest of their day. And one of the first things that's super important is the communication of when and where those handoffs are going to be. So if you don't already have a physical calendar with your custody schedule, I like getting big ones. In fact, I like the desk-sized blotter ones. And one of the nice things about them is that the squares are big enough that you can use sticky notes to put in notes and do things. But of all the information on your calendar, for sure, when and where and who are doing the drop-offs or the pickups is super important for your kids. And the younger your kids are, the more you're going to need to review that calendar with them and to remind them. If I was transitioning a kid on let's say a Wednesday afternoon, I might say on Tuesday night, right? I would be really clear that, hey, remember tomorrow. And if it's a little kid, if it's like a 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old, on Monday I would have said too, right? You're here with me tonight and tomorrow night. And then on Wednesday, mom is going to pick you up from camp. Your bag, we'll send your bag with you, whatever logistics you want to offer. But you want to repeat that a lot. They want to know when it's going to be so that the 30 minutes before drop off doesn't look like, oh, we're running around. Where's this? I can't find this. I have to take this to mom's or I'm going to have a meltdown, right? You want to have a system and a routine. I would probably designate a place in the house that is sort of the first transfer point. So things to go to mom's house and have that be, in a bin or a basket or a shelf or a something, so that as you're thinking about the transition, those things that are going to transition with the kids are headed towards that designated point. On the other hand, what can you do when your kids are coming in to make the transition more smooth? Is there a ritual, even a small one, as your kids walk into your house that say, you're here now, and this is your home too? One ritual that one of the families that I work with has is they all kiss the door frame as they come in to bless the house. Right? They've got a little I don't know, little statue or something outside the door, and as they go in the door, they say, "We bless this house. We bless this house." think how just that small action could help a child feel like they belonged, like the house was maybe waiting for them, waiting for that blessing. That might make a really nice um, transition to help your child go like, oh, this is my house too. I'm expected here. I'm welcome here. I have a ritual here. You also want to consider, what do the first 15 minutes look like, those first moments, as your kid is walking into the house? Do they have things that they need to do? Very often, and I would be talking about this with the kids as they come in. Like, hey, as we go into when we get home, guys, let's, yeah, why don't you put your stuff in your room and unpack, and I will get snack ready, and we'll have snack in about 15 minutes. So that gives them both a time frame of adjustment, like you've got like 15 minutes to go see, like, oh, is my room still the same? Like, oh, now I'm in this room. Oh, I remember this. Oh yeah, okay. This is what I have at dad's house. This is what I have at mom's house. And then it's not just an open-ended time, but by saying you're going to have snack in 15 minutes, then they come. Now, what I would do with when they came to snack is I would go over the calendar. Hopefully, you've probably gone over it some in the car, but again, you want to set the expectation. How long are they going to be here? Are there any have-tos in the time that they're going to be home? And then what are some of the get-tos, or what do they have choice about? So think about, and of course, this isn't just for summer, but in the school year, their schedule is probably very regular. And so their body has a sense of when are they coming to your house and when are they going to their other house. During the summer, the body sense gets off. So if we instill these rituals, then that will help to kind of click them more. Do you know that our kids of divorce have to code switch? They have to go back and forth because they are, one set of expectations is at one house, right? And the other set of expectations is at the other house. And to some degree, then they're kind of one person at one house and one person at another house. And that's okay, but it takes energy. So anything that we can do to lovingly and gently kind of flip the switch for the kid's body to say, oh, I'm at my house now. Like, this is this house. And I don't know about you. I really don't like saying dad's house and mom's house to my kids, because it makes me feel like, if I'm sending you to mom's house, well, isn't that your house? So I like to name the house. In our family, we use the street names. So right now you're at Woodleaf. When you go back to Hanley, don't forget such and such. Or when you come to Woodleaf. So instead of saying when you come home, which feels a little bit weird because their child is home, right? It's just they're home in their other house. But when you come to my house, that sounds kind of possessive, like it's my house and not your house. So I don't know. Have you guys found a solution for that? That's my solution for that kind of help the sense that both homes belong to the child. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about today when it comes to summer survival is, don't feel obliged to fill every weekend with a great big experience, or to give your kids bragging rights. Here's the thing about bragging rights. Yeah, when your kids get back to school and they say, what did you do this summer? That's the obligatory, what did you do this summer? Saying something like, every week, my dad and I rode our bikes down to get ice cream at Baskin and Robbins. That becomes meaningful. That has weight. That's not a big, flashy, expensive thing, but like, oh, we had so much fun. After dinner, we would get on our bikes and we would ride through the darkening sky, and we'd get our bikes, and sometimes it was even dark by the time we got home, right? That is an experience, and it's meaningful and it's connected. So if you think about what are the moments that matter most, they can be awfully small. When my daughter was a baby, and that continued until she was, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, just before bedtime, every night we stepped outside and we had to say, "Good night, moon." We were saying good night to the moon. But that is a tradition that feels warm and close and connected and calming. So we go outside and we say, good night, moon. Good night, big oak tree. Good night, hammock. Good night, my truck's in the sandbox. Right? She would name all her things. And by the time she was 3 or 4, you would think like, oh, like a 3 or 4-year-old doesn't need that anymore. No, loved it. And so as she got older, just even after dinner, taking our tea and sitting on the patio and talking as that light changed and as it got dark, and maybe as a star came out, became this very cozy, intimate time in the day. Takes no cost, right? Okay, so how much do we want to let our kids do the planning? And how much do we want to just say, okay, I'm lining this up and this is what I want to do? The younger the kid, the more you want to give them choices within the box, right? So, okay, tomorrow afternoon, we're going to go to the park. Maybe it's, do you want to go to Wilson Park or Kennedy Park? Or it's, do we want to take our snack and have our snack at the park before we start to play? Or do we want to have our snack at home first, right? Little choices, but you make the big decision. The older our kids get, the more you can get their input and ask, what would they actually like to do? What would be fun? Let them get online, let them do research, give them a budget. Take everybody's opinions in and have a conversation about, you could do I teach a workshop called Your Best Summer Ever. And it starts with a vision board. Like, everybody creates their vision of what their individual best summer would be. And from that, we get kind of a Venn diagram of what's the family vision and what are the pieces we're going to try to include so that everybody in the family gets something of what they want and need during the summer. Okay. Don't overplan your teens. I know that, especially if you have like an 11, 12, 13-year-old, they're in that awkward in-between stage where there aren't a lot of camps that work for their age group, or they think it's dumb, it's stupid. And so you may have signed up for less, and you may feel like you have to be camp director for all those hours that they're not in a structured environment. I would sit down with your kids and say, all right, look, these are the days on the calendar where you guys are just free and can hang out. And of course, I'll be free some of those times to go do things with you. But other times I'm going to have to work. I'm going to have to be doing stuff around the house. And so let's brainstorm a list of things that you can do and or might need that's not on your screens in order to have fun on those days when we don't have anything planned. And, if I like kids doing things with their hands, they're in their heads so much at school and playing video games that gardening, baking, painting, knitting, building a birdhouse, putting a puzzle together, those all require their hands and their interaction with real concrete things. So that's my bias is towards that. But help create them a list so that when they come and they're like antsy or bored, or you catch them on their screens again, you have a list to send them to do. Like say, okay, I expect you to find something on that list and do it for at least 30 minutes. And then the hope is that if they engage with it for 30 minutes, that it's actually interesting to them. They're actually in the middle of a painting, or they want to keep doing something. And if that skill isn't very developed at the beginning of the summer, just keep at it. And by the end of the summer, they're going to get much better at finding ways to spend their time, not on screens, hopefully, that feel good to them. And if they should happen to say like, why can't we go to mom's house? Mom has the pool and my friends are there, and this is boring. I know that that's going to feel like arrows in your heart, but don't let it throw you. Just say like, it's great that you have your mom's house, or it's great that you have, it's great that you have Handley and that there's a pool at Handley. I'm happy for you. And today you're with me and I'm happy for you too. Look at all the things that we brainstormed that you could do. I'm sure you can find something. And then I would get busy with something else so that they don't have a lot of time to do it. Okay. So those are kind of broad guidelines or thoughts about the big picture of keeping your kids happy. And I just wanted to pause for a moment and to acknowledge how hard summer can especially be. We don't have our same routine necessarily, and our body rhythm gets off because our body also feels like, how many days is it? 2 days, 2 days on, 2 days off, 3 days. Like we have a sense of when our kids should be with us. And I remember the first summer that I was on a 2-2-5 schedule, and the first summer where her dad's 5 started, only it was going to go longer. It was going to go all the way through to the following weekend. And I got to day 6, which is when I would have expected her per the rhythm to come back to me. And I just felt off. I just felt like antsy and irritable. And it took me most of the day to figure out like, oh, all this feeling in my body is actually just missing my daughter like crazy and longing for her. Like every cell in my body is expecting to see her. And then I have to remind myself that I don't get seen. So be kind to yourself. Maybe make a little plan for yourself. Like maybe anticipate like, okay, that's going to be hard for me. I'm so happy I'm going to have my kids 2 weeks straight. That's awesome. Well, that means you also have to let them go for 2 weeks. Make a plan for yourself. Make that same list for yourself. What can I do when I'm feeling antsy and unsettled that will make me feel better? I sing in choirs, and I like to dance. I like to ballroom dance. I like to like folk dance and stuff. So the first summer that I was separated, I would drop my daughter off. I would come home and I would bawl for an hour or so. I would have a good cry, and then I would put on my dancing shoes and I would go and dance for 3 or 4 hours. And I would kind of get that dance euphoria. And then, I signed up for a summer chorus. In fact, I signed up for 2 summer choruses, and every other night that I was not like going to dinner with somebody or scheduled with something, I went to a drop-in a drop-in ballroom dance class, right? I made a plan for myself so that I knew I had something to anticipate. It involved two things that I absolutely love, singing and dancing. And of course, both involve a lot of breath work, and breath work helps us to move through our emotions. So that helps us to feel better physically, and that helps us to feel better emotionally. So make a plan for yourself. And just like you're going to ask your kids to maybe engage in a project, what could you accomplish this summer? So last summer I took up knitting after 20 years of not knitting, and I knit a series of beanies. I live in Monterey, where today is surprisingly warm, but usually it hovers at around, between 65 and 70 degrees. So most of the year I'm wearing my beanie. It felt so satisfying, right? Because now my kids are grown and gone, so I don't have the school rhythm. So my work year just kind of continues, and I sort of forget to say, like, oh, I'm going to take a break and take a vacation. But it felt so good at the end of last summer to be able to go, look, I spent the summer making beanies. Yes, I was working every day, but at night when I was watching television or when other people were over and we're just talking, my hands were busy making beanies. So maybe there's some hobby that you haven't had time for because you're busy with your kids. This is the time that you could do it. Okay, the last little comment I want to make before I'm done today is, you know that you can't control what happens at your ex's, right? You can only control what your kids see and feel when they are with you. And so I want you to be aware of yourself. In my program for divorce dads, one of the sections I teach is social emotional learning. The emotional piece really starts with identifying feelings. And there's a little loop. I can think, oh, I'm feeling this, and then I can identify what are the physical manifestations of that. Or more often, I think, we are aware of the physical manifestations. I'm restless. My shoulders are up around my fists are clenched, right? We notice one of those, like my back is stiff. And then we can go, well, what am I feeling right now that's having all this jittery energy? Oh, I'm feeling jittery. Then the next question behind that, and this is an important one, is what is the need, core need, which is right now in this moment while I'm feeling jittery, being unmet? And it could be, it could be a need for connection. It could be a need for order, right? Like if the summer's calendar's off, then things aren't in order. My body feels off because of it. It could feel, it could be highlighting my sense of powerlessness at living in a world where I have to give up my children half the time. Right? My child's 30 years old, and I can still get sad about all that time that I lost with her because I had to share her. And it was a good thing to share her. And her dad was a good dad. He is a good dad. It was important. It doesn't mean I didn't really miss on all the time I could have had. So, what can you do to be mindful? Like, you know what your ex does or says that triggers you, that destabilizes you, right? Why is that the trigger? Do some work around that. And it might be that you it's like layers of an onion. It might be like, I hate it when she says X because it feels disrespectful. Well, what's the need under disrespectful? Maybe, a need to a need to be connected, a need to be loved. Certainly by your kids, if not by your ex. All right. You know what? Building a home culture that becomes your kids' foundation for love and stability, it doesn't require full-time parenting. It doesn't even require a full week. It requires intentions in the moments that you do have. So, where are you going to be more intentional this summer? I'd love you to drop it in the comments below. I'll be back next week on Wednesday. If you are looking to get a reminder of that, I've got the link below where you can sign up for those reminders. And it would be a pleasure to see you. Thanks very much.